What do you remember most from when you were a child going there?
Okay, so whenever I arrived, we would walk up the long sets of back stairs. And my favorite thing in the whole world for decades, starting when I was a very little girl, was walking up to the top of the stairs outside the kitchen. And as you get up there, looking at the lake, like the pathway, the concrete pathway, and the lake framed in the in that lattice doorway.
Yeah, the little arch.
And it just felt like magic to me. And then the breeze would just come and embrace you, and the sun would be shining, and the sound of the lake. It was just magic to me. And then other things that I remember, getting to know the neighbors, or, just feeling like every cottage was its own little magic place for everybody. That going down to Bluebell Hill was really far away,
Can you do a
but
little
then
skip?
Even just going up around Lake Forest and going over to they used to be 99 steps, now it's 101 steps. Just being allowed to explore in a way that I was not allowed at home as a very young kid.
Yes. What is your favorite part about spending summers there now?
Now, the slower pace of life, and the fact that I have less to do, and I really like the fact that we don't have a TV. I like that even when I'm working, it's quieter and calmer. We're surrounded by nature. I read more books. I sleep more deeply. It's just it's very relaxing, and it's a place of contemplation for me. I kind of think of it as a place where I process the rest of the year and kind of reassemble myself, and I feel more whole by the time I've left.
What hobbies or skills have you picked up coming to Epworth?
Oh, what hobbies or skills?
Either when you were younger or now, or things that you've maintained.
I became really good at putt-putt golf.
That's a good one for sure.
Yeah, not really a hobby, but maybe a skill. Rock painting. And the bag that we have that's blue and white stripes that has the Epworth shield or whatever on one side, that image on the other side, I painted that. The one that says Sun Mountain, I painted that. So I think I feel a little bit more creative when I'm there. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What animals were common to see when you were growing up?
Squirrels, deer, a lot of deer. Raccoons used to come and dump over our trash cans all the time.
I remember that.
Schools of fish, just those little bitty, I don't even know what they are, but the little bitty ones, there would be a lot of them up close to shore in the warmer water.
I feel like we don't have those anymore.
Well, of course we can't get down to the lake to see them in the same way.
I don't remember them though.
I don't know. Seagulls. What other animals?
We don't have seagulls anymore either. Maybe just because there's less land. But.
Yeah. And right now there's that mink there's a mink family that lives on the property that people see.
Did you notice any changes in the amount of animals there were? Or what kind of animals from when you were younger to now?
No, honestly, I think I took it for granted when I was young. For the last few years, somebody spotted the bald eagle that makes a nest over down by the river. And I'm much more aware of the bald eagles now. Other than that, no, I'm not. What was it? It was a porcupine. Huge porcupine.
At Epworth.
At Epworth,
I remember that. I think I remember that.
Yeah, I think I took pictures. I think you were there when it happened. It was over by Lake Forest. I took photos.
And then what kind of trees or plants were there? And have you noticed any changes in those?
Oh, I'm so bad at the names of those.
It doesn't need to be the name, but the type maybe.
Yeah. No, I haven't noticed a lot of change in those. I think that trees have had to be taken down because the trees that were young and strong when I was young and strong, some of those have gotten older and either posed risks of falling on houses or maybe were eaten up by pests or disease or whatever. So we've lost some of those. But no, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I think I love about Epworth is that there's a lot of consistency with like the plantings of the common areas and like our window boxes with the geraniums and the petunias, right? The red and the purple, consistent for years, so pretty.
Anything about the dunes? Have you noticed the change in the shapes of the dunes? Is that something that's happened? Other than the water, but of course.
Certainly the water, but and I may be wrong. It may be that I'm just misremembering what it looks like, but I feel like there was more dune where Bluebell Hill is.
Like behind it or past
it?
There
was no, like toward the lake.
Oh.
Like there was like what we see now is reshaped from what I remember. Even though we still do the same thing, it just feels like it's receded a little bit more toward the trees, and that there used to be more out from the trees and more trees on top of it. It may be that I'm wrong. It may be that I've just grown older and it shifted a little, but not a lot.
When you were younger, did they still have did they have the path that leads like behind Burma Road?
I don't remember that. It may have existed, but that is not how we got out there.
With the amphitheater?
The amphitheater was there. Oh, you mean Burma Road?
Yeah.
Oh, Burma Road has been there since forever.
No, but there's like a path that leads down to the amphitheater. They call it like the nature path. I think it leads like...
Oh, yeah, that was built one winter after I was an adult. We didn't have the what do they call it? I think they've changed it from the politically incorrect Indian Trail to...
Yeah, I know. That's why I couldn't remember the name of it either.
Yeah, I think it's just the nature trail now.
I think it is too.
It used to be that you could go up Oak Ridge past where Uncle Winston's cottage is, and you could go all the way up to the top of that, and then you could walk around the dunes back down there, but there wasn't a formal path. But way back in the day, there was stuff up there, like there would be overnights with activities and that kind of thing.
Now sometimes they do that, but it's on the very last day of activities, and they go to Bluebell.
Right.
Did you, what was I going to ask? It's about another path. Oh yeah, on Bluebell, there's like a path up there now. Was there anything, it's not really defined, it's just defined by people walking up there. But do you remember like exploring Bluebell a lot when you were?
Yeah. Yeah, I was always scared of walking down the other side. I had no idea. It always felt like it was going to go to someplace really mysterious. Yeah. And, sorry, I had to let the dog out. It felt like it was not going to be, it went back into the woods. So, like, Aunt Lee and I once walked at night back in the woody part and then up and over the hill and back home again. And it was so scary.
Yeah.
It was so scary. But I don't remember that there was a path. Like how y'all get out to the fire now.
Yeah.
The back way. I don't remember that existed. And it may be that I just wasn't aware, but we would walk on the lakeside, and there was a path through the seagrass that everybody beat, and kind of you could see it through the seagrass where everybody was walking.
Well, we used to have that the first year I went when I was like 15, so it's like 3 years ago.
Right.
We could walk on the beach, like by the water, and now the seagrass leads all the way out to the water, and the beach has receded, so we can't do it anymore. And that started even like the next year we couldn't do it.
Yeah, but on top of Bluebell, there has, as far as I can remember, there's always been a path on the top of Bluebell to be able to walk along the ridge.
Right, that's what I was.
Right, a fair way. And at some point along when the near side of the Bluebell, you could walk up, and there was somebody had put in a rope swing.
Oh yeah, we had that a few years ago.
Yeah. So that was, I guess maybe somebody rehung it, but yeah. All those houses that are behind Bluebell now didn't exist. There was no road there. So it was just
Are there houses behind
and woods.
There are houses behind Bluebell?
Yeah, you know how you walk up to Bluebell and there's the circle?
Yeah.
Right?
And
then there are all those houses on the right, and then some more houses.
I guess there's a few behind it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then there's that road that exists now. There's the parking area, and there's that road that goes along the river with all the new houses on it. None of that existed when I grew up.
Right.
All of that was woods. And in fact, where all those new houses are belonged to the country club.
Like up
and we ended up buying that part of the land from the country club so that people could build cottages along there. But all of that road and everything didn't exist. So you would just walk in the woods if you were going to go back in there. So it felt very wild to me.
What do you miss? Okay, well, I guess I should ask this other question first. How has the weather or the rainfall changed? Have you noticed any change? It's a very specific question.
I actually haven't noticed a big change in terms of because we go right now for so many years now. We've gone to essentially the same 2-week time period. Mm-hmm. And I would say that it's been pretty consistent. Not that it doesn't get cool sometimes or, is warmer sometimes, but I feel like the weather's pretty consistent for the short span of time that we're there. But I remember when I was little and we would go we'd stay for a month, and we would go, I guess, probably mid-June and stay until mid-July or something. And it was cold. I mean, we loved having fires, and it would be rainy, and we would stay inside. And I have a sense that it's not as cold in June as it used to be. Mm-hmm. Generally. Yeah.
Have there been any big storms in the last 20 years? And that can be like things you've heard about also.
I think there have been big storms. I know that some of the winters have been really brutal winters. There was a winter a couple of years ago that was really brutal. But the storms, it feels like there are fewer of them, but they are heavier duty when they come. But I remember the year that, and I think there have been more of them like that, but the Harry Potter cloud that came rolling in, mm-hmm. You could see the storm front coming through, and it was, it had a roll in the front of it, and it was so dark and low.
It's so clear to be able to see the storms coming when you look over the water, when they come from that direction.
I love seeing the storms come. Mm-hmm. I love it. And because of the way we're pointed, it feels like we're pointed due west, but of course you see where the sun sets. So we're not. We're actually pointed a little bit south. And so you have to turn to where the sun sets is, and you realize that that's like where Badger goes to. It's going essentially due west over to Manitowoc.
Right. And it disappears.
Right.
What do you miss most about being there 20 years ago? I don't
About
know
being.
why. It doesn't have to be 20 years ago. It can be from when you were little or whenever.
Okay, thanks. I miss being truly disconnected. We have always made a point of not having a television there, and with the advent of computers and telephones, we can't keep technology out. So it used to be that you really did leave the rest of the world behind when you went to Epworth, and now you have to be much more intentional about that. And I think that was like when you went to camp and you left your cell phone and you were just fully present at camp. That's the way it used to be when you went to Epworth.
Right.
Very few people had televisions. Everybody played games. Well, nobody's calling that I want to talk to. It's going to be another political phone call.
You just disconnected the whole landline.
Well, just that from this one phone, it's still ringing upstairs. But it's, yeah, I mean, it used to be that you'd go over to somebody's house and just talk. I mean, there wasn't anything else to do. For years, we didn't even have a radio. And so, there weren't cars nearby. Like, it was so quiet. You listen to sounds of nature. You listen to the birds. You listen to the lake on the shore, and nobody's air conditioner was running. Nobody had a television. Nobody was working on their computer out on the porch. I mean, when you went, you were really, truly disconnected. And I read so much. And I think that may be what I miss, is just sitting and reading for 2 or 3 hours, getting up, going to the beach, maybe going for a hike or going on a canoe trip or something like that, and then coming back, having dinner, and reading some more, playing cards. Like we would play hearts in a big group with 2 decks of cards.
We still play cards.
Yeah. Well, I think you all do it. I think, and it may be just a function of my age. Like, I'm in charge of dinner now. I didn't used to be in charge of dinner. So, like, I'm running in town.
Yeah. I mean, I play cards all day when I'm there.
Yeah.
For probably like 3 hours a day or more.
Right. So how you do it now is probably how I did it. Although I think I read a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Than your age group does. I mean, I literally would lie on the sofa or lie out front or sit in one of those big orange chairs and just read forever, and went through book after book after book. Would go to the library, would run out of stuff to read at the little library at Epworth. Mom would take me into town. I'd get some more books and read them.
I remember doing that when I was little.
Yeah.
I still read when I'm up there, like on the porch in the morning normally, though.
Right.
Not for the whole day.
Yeah.
What do you like most about going there now?
I think it's probably the same stuff, just leaving the world behind. I get the newspaper in Atlanta, but I don't pick up the newspaper when I'm there. I don't watch TV news, but I do kind of pay attention to news that comes in over my phone, or I'll look something up on the computer, and I just don't. And so every now and then I might pick up a newspaper just out of curiosity or because I want the Sunday comics. But I like taking long walks. It feels far away from the rest of the world. And I really do love the nature there. The sense of being there are evocative of my childhood. I love the clarity of the blue skies and at night being able to see all of the stars and the planets. And I do think that we're just a lot more quiet when we're there. I think we're less frantic when we're there, and I really enjoy that.
How do you, do you see any changes in like the types of foods that we eat, or what's available in the stores, or how people, anything related to that?
Oh yeah, it's very different. I mean, we had one grocery store and it was called Bonzer's, and it was right in town. And everything in town, it was right in town. All that stuff that's at the medical center and beyond just didn't exist. I mean, they weren't there.
What was out there? Did you ever go?
Not much. Yes, Scotty's restaurant, which was the fanciest restaurant in town, was out on US 10 that way, and then Gibbs Restaurant, which is where we would go after church to have a fabulous brunch. I mean, fabulous brunch. You can't even imagine how delicious this brunch was. And the Traverse Bay Woolen Company, which sold all kinds of winter clothing and sweaters and blankets and a little bit of camping gear and that kind of stuff. And it was one of my favorite, like I made a point of it annually to go to the Traverse Bay Woolen Company. I'd always ask Mom if we could go to the Traverse Bay Woolen Company. I just loved all the stuff that they sold there. And it doesn't exist anymore. I think there's like a Hardee's or an Arby's or something where it used to stand. We didn't have Walmart. There wasn't Myers. When Bonzer's, the grocery store that's now the Shop and Save, there was one grocery store that opened up outside of town that was there that was something else, that wasn't Shop and Save. And Bonzer, in fact, it may have been Bonzer's. Bonzer's may have moved. So it was just like what was available to us was limited. There was a lot more fresh, local Michigan stuff because all of it had to be shipped in. It was, that just the small town couldn't afford to have this much stuff shipped in. And I ate a lot more like hamburgers and French fries and stuff. Eating at the coffee shop, for example.
Yeah.
And of course, the best ice cream in the world.
Of course, the best ice cream in the world.
Still hasn't changed. It's still the best ice cream in the world.
Okay, well, that's pretty much all I have. So thank you for talking to me.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have any other thoughts? Anything that comes to you?